Hey guys, I wanted to give you some help with this introduction for this essay question. So the essay question that we have here is examine the importance of the demographic dividend. So we'll just read through the introductory paragraph that a student did, and it's very, very good. So here they said the demographic dividend is a bulge in numbers of the working population that is economically active in age ranges 16 to 65 years old. Countries with lower dependency ratios would have a higher demographic dividend compared to those with a higher dependency ratio. The demographic dividend is an important opportunity to help eliminate poverty, hunger, and increase employment. An example of an extreme view would state a country's access and utilisation of demographic dividend is the only way for a country to achieve rapid economic development and achieve its sustainable development goals. It is more complex than it seems to be. I will be discussing case studies of South Korea, Ethiopia to help clarify the importance of the demographic dividend. So clearly you can see that that is a very, very good paragraph, but we're going to give you a little bit of guidance on how to improve that paragraph even further. So the question we'll remind ourselves is examine the importance of the demographic dividend model. So the demographic dividend model is a bulge in the working numbers. We might be able to improve that a little bit to make it a little bit clearer. And they said in this case there'll be more economically active people to produce and consume products and services. So that's a little improvement that we've made there, just adding a little bit of clarity on why it's important. This will then help the economy to grow and is therefore important. And notice how that we've pulled in the word there, important. We've taken that word important from the essay title and put it into the introductory paragraph. So this slide here specifically looks at girls and female education, and it talks about a demographic dividend, and we can see there that on the top green line we've got a demographic dividend and the bottom red line is a missed demographic dividend. So what this is just suggesting is that just because you have a large working population, you could get the demographic dividend. However, this could be a missed opportunity. And already you can see specifically within the context of girls, adolescent girls, you can see that there are a number of factors in there that would work towards this demographic dividend being important. And then there are a number of factors that could cause that missed opportunity. So what we've started doing here is we started to examine it. And we've started to examine it, which means uncover assumptions and interrelationships. So it's often assumed that a country that has a young population will automatically have that economic growth. Is that actually the case? Or are there other factors at play? So like we said before, here we are assuming that just because a country has a high percentage working age population, your economy will grow. Therefore, the demographic dividend is important. So already from that previous slide, we can see with the red line and the green line, this is not inevitable. And there are a number of factors that would interrelate with each other, which would determine the importance of the demographic dividend in helping the country to rapidly economically develop and achieve its sustainable development goals. So here it's really important that we use the language of the command term, and the command term here is examine. So there we need to specifically say assumptions. And we've just made a really big assumption. Now, you could say this is a big assumption. In reality, this is only part of the pictures. There are other factors in operation. To achieve the economic development, you also need healthy and educated workers who benefit from political stability and good governance. So we're starting to reshape our idea that demographic dividend isn't necessary, is a potential and it is a potential. It is important, but it's a potential. So you need to empower those young people, as it says here. You need to catalyze economic growth. It is not inevitable. Interrelationships. If we go to the previous slide where we look at those gears, you can see that there are several factors there. So we are actually developing the idea even further that there are interrelationships. So you could say, however, this benefit of the demographic dividend is not inevitable. Its success depends on having that healthy, educated workforce. So interrelationships. There are interrelationships with several factors that you've identified. So with that period of demographic dividend, there is that period potentially of fast economic growth. And here you can see Japan from 1964 through to 2004 had 40 years of demographic dividend, that fast economic growth. The case study that we're going to look at specifically is South Korea, 40 years, 1987 to 2027. So they're coming towards the end. Korea is coming towards the end of its demographic dividend. So those case studies will help you to illustrate what you are saying, illustrate those assumptions, and illustrate those interrelationships. And it's always very good to help the examiner to understand what you're going to talk about, to say that these assumptions and interrelationships will be investigated using case studies from South Korea and Ethiopia. Therefore, you're providing a road map so the examiner understands the case studies that you're going to use. So Ethiopia, here we can see population pyramids for Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a particularly good case study to see because they are at the very start of their demographic dividend, or the potential of the demographic dividend. And you can see here the change in that shape, and as the student said at the start, the bulge developing. By 2050, which is the lower bottom of the three pyramids, you can see that real bulge in the working age population. So Ethiopia has the potential for that demographic dividend to be very important. Interrelationships. So we just emphasize that again. In your essay, you could say, however, this benefit is not inevitable. Its success depends on having healthy and educated workers who benefit from political stability and good governance. These are complex. There are complex relationships in operation. So not only have you used the word interrelationship, you've also introduced the word complexity. So your examiner from the outstart understands that you realise that this is complex. And complex is a certain key term that you would need to use to access the higher levels. So here is your challenge. We've got the essay question examining the importance of the demographic dividend. Now, try to improve the original introductory paragraph. I will pop the text in the description of this video, and I'll also pop it into the department website. So you can watch this video through again and try to reword that to make that a better introductory paragraph.